You just came back from Venice, actually. You did a masterclass on the Lido, which is kind of like fun and strange, exactly. But you're at an interesting crossroads in your life because you do have 3 features out there. So when I saw that you were cast in this film, I was elated. And the reason why is I'm a huge fan of the short. Quelqu'un d'extraordinaire. I love this film. I think it's one of the best shorts I've seen in my life. And so I was like relating what might happen, that chemistry. So from your perspective specifically, you've grown to admire this person professionally, personally. So how did that evolve, that relationship director, actor over the last decade? And what's her specific talent behind the camera? How does she make a scene feel full or lively?
I admire her so much. She's got so many talents, and she's so powerful as a person, as a woman, as a brain, as a cinematographer. She's one of the best writers I know. Her dialogues are absolutely amazing to read, but also it's very rare that an actor wouldn't change a word. That every single character has its own language and music, and there's so many layers to Monia's writing, but it's also so digest. It's so pleasing. What I found, well, obviously she's evolved as an artist and as a person in the past decade. I think her character, because my character was called Sophia as well.
No, Sarah.
Sarah?
Yeah.
Because Sophia is
Sophia is like a new
character. Oh, okay. But they're very different, Sarah and Sophia. They're very different, as I think Monia embraces her tenderness a lot more than she did in years ago. But also because I think just being a woman director or just a woman in this world takes a lot of strength.
Gusto.
Yeah. But I think her mark is like undeniable now, and there's something I don't know that she just let go. Maybe she wouldn't say self-confidence, but I see that in her direction.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. In her professional life, she does hypotheses. She'll do the research. She'll produce findings, and what's fascinating is how that character then sort of like embodies her professional life and her personal life. She's doing that among others, but she's not really doing she's not putting herself as the lab rat or experiment.
Yeah. But she becomes the lab rat during the movie. Yeah.
And so, but what's interesting is she's really concerned about other people's responses or she's before making the choice for herself, she's more concerned about what other people think.
That's not how I see it.
How do you see it?
No, I think she really...
Because there's social expectations, right? There's a grid there that exists.
But they're not there at the beginning. She actually throws herself in that love story. There is no guilt linked to the fact that it's an adulterally love. But then that's one of the questions that Monia asks through the movie. Are love and couples compatible? What is love and what is a couple? What is that relationship? What is that institution? And then is it
no answer yet.
But
you're coming.
It's actually a social act.
It's fun.
Loving someone is a very intimate thing, but then becoming a couple is a social thing, and that's where the clash occurs. Yeah.
Despite my many failures in relationships, there's one thing that I would love to do is take what happens in this film, put it in a bottle, and then market it, and then sell it at pharmacies. The way that you put those two characters together, I mean, the tongues and the hugging and all that stuff, like I'm like, yes, that's why I keep on coming back to this and hurting myself. Tell me about building building these characters in very, I don't want to say stereotypical, but they're very specific guidelines. Like there's the intellectual, the non-intellectual. There's the country versus city. There's these definitions that exist. I don't know where I'm going with the question, but it sort of like disarmors us. And so those conventions and those laws and rules are non-applicable. So I think that's a really interesting thing, and how you're able to go and grab that.
Well, I guess like when it's also because when you fall in love, like or when you have like a crush on someone, you push a lot of expectation or your phantasm about in front of this on this person,
Yes.
on this character, like I would say, and so at the beginning it was obvious for me that I had to polarize the characters, you know, to get them developed and being more like in their own humanity. That means that the character of Xavier, for example, the first partner of Sophia, which is more intellectual, and it seems very like cold in his own body, but at the end, like there's a scene that shows that he has like something he wants, you know, like something different of what we expect from him in the intimacy. And it's the same for Sylvain, you know, we at the beginning we see them in the shadow, like the first time we see the guys in the almost
It's almost like a horror movie presentation.
Like in the black
It's like
a shade. And so we can like project or have a projection of whatever we want on this character, on this guy, and progressively, well, we see someone more like, he looks very viral at the beginning and very like, and progressively, like during the movie, like we see this fragility of the guy.
There's a little bit of puppy.
Yeah, well, and it's the same for Sophia. Like she reveals herself in like a multiple perspective, and it's like in life, you know, like I'm trying to not be, I try to, well, in comedy the thing is like you have to push a little bit the character to make it fun in a way, like to see that people like in a comedy sense of like the reality, but slowly to make it like more tender or more like human, you have to like let it go, this kind of comedy, to make the character appears of what they are in the profound of themselves.
Yes.
But I think one of the many skills that she has is also using stereotypes.
Yes.
Like those, you know, contours that everybody can relate to, but then never dive into the cliche of those stereotypes. And she does that like with the characters, but also with her writing and every scene. Like you always think that when she starts this scene, you always think that you know where this is going, and then she always takes the opposite direction to what you expect.
That's very apparent in her first film too.
Yeah,
she plays with convention all the time.
Exactly, because she, you know, she's well read and she's a great viewer too. She knows cinema so much, so she's got all those references that she uses to then personalize them.
And we are raised by full of stereotype and convention.
Yes.
You know? So
They exist for a reason
like,
too.
If you dream of like someone like you won't fall in love with, like I would like someone who's like this and like this and like that, and having this glimpse of that, and being probably like a journalist or a doctor, or so we our mind are like surrounded by stereotype.
Especially today. Especially in this culture, I want to say.
Probably in the image culture, like we have this idea of like this person is like on social media, she's like that, and so we show ourselves part of what we think is the best of ourselves, which is probably not. You know, like sometimes like I have not good friends, but I have friends like I really like in life, and on their social media, I'm like, I don't know who is this person, you know.
Interesting.
But it's the way they see themselves as powerful,
or they want to be seen,
in this way, We don't really we like this idea of perfection, but perfection is not interesting.
No, it's boring. I like flawed. I think this is André Turpin's best work since Tom at the Farm.
With Pierre-Yves too.
Yes, exactly.
So maybe it's the key is Pierre-Yves.
Maybe he's inspired by Pierre-Yves.
But as I'm watching this, like I said, in Paris in the month of April, I'm shocked because I thought I'm watching a 70s Giallo film. Like there's like, I was like, what? She's applying a certain template. And one of my favorite shots is, so there's a lot of zoom to stretch out rapports and between the genders or the relationships. There's a lot of these great zoom shots. And there's one shot, it's such a money shot for me. It's when you decide to split the characters after after a dinner where there's a potential romantic element. I don't want to spoil anything here. And we see two people in two bedrooms. They're a couple. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was such a great shot to elicit so many different thoughts into their own perspectives and mindset. So I just wanted to get a sense of, like, you write the screenplay, did you know it would fall into certain, like I said, 70s cinema? Like I was thinking Giallo.
Yeah, Giallo was more explored for me on Babysitter, my last film. For this movie, I was thinking a lot of romantic film from the 70s for sure, like Love Story, obviously. But also, one of my main inspiration was images from Robert Altman, like the color and the way he films, and I'm really inspired by him. Like for Babysitter, I remember I was watching a lot, like 3 times I watched Three Women.
Yeah.
So I like this freedom of Altman, but also I study a lot of his movement in camera, like how he works with dolly and long shot and zoom, and it's always in movement and very sensual. And for this film, I wanted something less staccato that I was used to do, like in editing or in film or in shooting. So it was like a love story, a sexy story, a sensual story. So I wanted something like a ballet with the technical crew and the actor, like, and being far from the actor to let them being free in their and not knowing when I'm gonna zoom on their face very close, to let them. So yeah, my idea at the beginning was I was thinking of a documentary, like animal documentary.
Okay, yeah.
So
David
that's why I
Attenborough.
was thinking zoom, like I was like, I want to show like a love relationship with animals, like from far, And then I was like thinking of the zoom. I was thinking of Altman and the way he was like moving his camera, and so it was my main inspiration for that. Of course, the 70s, because like with the music, with Kevin Sornet, who does he did the music of Babysitter too. We were thinking of Francis Lay, of like film like Les Choses de la Vie from Sauté, and so we were like, because this kind of grain and image relate to love, like I wanted something very, without any cynic part, like in the image, as we do when we fall in love.
Yes,
we
of
are
course.
like kind of like first degree.
I'm in that technical.
But it also adds melancholia and nostalgia to.
And there's a deliberate color palette as well chosen.
Oh yeah,
here.
you should have seen our costumes.
Oh, I can imagine.
Was like brown and cream
Yeah.
every day.
Very earthy tones.
A little bit of blue.
But it works. I'll end with this question. So, as I'm actively watching this, and I know a lot of your first 3 films were all like almost brainchilds, like you almost delivered triplets, to be quite frank. Like all these films are sort of like coming out at the same time. One gets funding, one doesn't. Which one you're going to shoot first? So I selfishly want you to become Quebec's or French Canada or Canada's Richard Linklater, because I want to see Sophie again at age 50. Like, I'm hoping.
Well, you're gonna see her, but in a different way.
No, I know.
I talk a little bit about myself, so you're gonna see her.
Of course. But your obsessions and your concerns for now, like, we don't know what it's going to be in 10 years, But I'm selfishly hoping that she gets you. She doesn't tell you she's working on something, and you guys.
That's what I'm hoping too.
Yes. And that's 50's nifty. Thank you so much for the nature of love. Saint comme Sylvain in my heart. Merci beaucoup.
Merci.
Hey, this is Eric from IONCINEMA.com. If you want to support us, subscribe below. For more reviews, interviews, film festival coverage from Sundance, Cannes, Toronto, you want to check out these guys on this side.